This past weekend, we had to pop into Dollar Tree to get a few essentials, and I stopped by the makeup aisle and I did a little haul. So I don't know what your Dollar Trees look like, but when I walked into mine, I was shook at the variety they had, like a full aisle of all types of makeup. I was there for like half an hour. My husband was begging to leave, but I picked up a bunch of makeup products and I want to see what is up at the Dollar Tree. So I feel like this is an easier way to go over everything that I purchased. So I got a hydrating serum concealer, a full coverage concealer, a LA Colors bronzer, a blush, a liquid blush that kind of gave me Rare Beauty vibes, mascara, lashes, eyeliner, eyeshadow palette, and this lip gloss that kind of looks like the Maybelline. This is everything I got. Let me just put my hair up before we get into this. The prices of makeup products right now is astronomical, so I'm hopeful that some of these products could be really great and really budget-friendly options. Let's get into some swatches. So I'm going to go into the Essentially Ageless concealer. Doesn't have a smell. Very serum-y, but not a bad color match. So that is the Ageless Serum Concealer. Hydrating Serum Concealer Corrector with Hyaluronic Acid. And I also picked up another concealer. This is more full coverage. It's Flawless Finish Full Coverage Concealer. Definitely more full coverage, but you could tell it's a little fluid. So it's definitely more full coverage. It is still a little fluid like the other one. It's not like a thick Tarte Shape Tape kind of consistency, but looks promising. Next, I want to swatch this liquid blush in the color Party Pink, kind of giving Rare Beauty vibes with the applicator. She's pigmented. That's a really pretty shade. I want to know how it applies. We'll see how that applies to the face though. Swatches on hands are always different than application to the face. Lip gloss. Kind of looks like a dupe for the Maybelline lip gloss. Really cool packaging. Also very pigmented. Okay, Dollar Tree. All right. I tried to stick with all rosy tones so I could get a nice monochromatic look. I got this blush in Rose. What's the color? Color is not on here, but it's like a rose shade. A little powdery. Oh, it has a sheen. Pearl finish. Seems a little powdery. We'll see how that applies to the cheeks. And I also picked up a bronzer. This is LA Colors in the shade Baked. This also looks like it has a sheen. A little more color payoff than the blush. It's not matte, it does have a sheen, but pretty decent color payoff, I would say. Also, as I'm swatching these for you guys, I am noticing that the concealers have oxidized. So they have gotten darker as they've dried down. So make note of that if you plan on buying any of these. And for eyeshadow, I got the LA Colors Desert Rose. The shimmer looks really pretty in here. I'm gonna do some on my wrist here because I ran out of real estate on the back of my hand. So I'm gonna go in with the nude. That looks promising. Okay, pretty good pigment. Ooh, that's a good shimmer shade. And into the rosy color. No way. This palette is insane. Wow. This is reminding me of a palette I have. Hold on. No, I need to do a side by side. Let me remove the makeup off the back of my hand and do a side by side comparison because I'm actually shook right now. The pigment is nuts on this and the tones they seem almost identical to the Chanel palette. So let's do a side by side. Let's re-swatch the LA colors. And now, let me wipe my fingers off. Let's swatch the Chanel. Okay. LA colors, Chanel. Why is the formula very similar? Okay, so Chanel is a little more plum and pink. LA Girls is maybe a little more coppery, like a burnt coppery rose, and more of a champagne. However, these are very similar in my opinion. I also want to compare it to the Hourglass Scattered Light in the color Rapture, because I'm obsessed with this shade, and an individual one of these is like $30, I think. So I'm gonna put this here. That's the, okay, nothing compares to the Hourglass, never mind. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. I also picked up the LA Colors Bold Lash Mascara. Oh, it's a tiny wand. We will try that out. And I also picked up the LA Colors eyeliner pen. All right, definitely a chubby tip. Very pigmented. The tip does wiggle around a little bit, and it is a little chunky, so I want to see how that's going to apply to the eyes. But geez, look at that pigment. You guys. What? You guys, it doesn't come off. Like, wow, wow, wow. Is this like a Sharpie? This is a Sharpie. It's not coming out. Okay, a little bit's coming off. This is bonkers. I'm scared to apply this to my eyes. That's after scrubbing my hand off. All right, the things I do for you guys. I did struggle in the lash department. I had a hard time finding a lash with a very small band. They were all thick and black. This was the only one with a clear band and the thinnest one I could find. It also looked really pretty and more natural. as opposed to the other ones I saw there, which were full and thick and kind of like a night out lash. So I'm gonna see how these apply. Let's get into the makeup application. With the concealers, I think I wanna take the full coverage lighter shade in my T-zone under my eyes, and then the darker serum around the perimeter. There were some foundations, they were all way too dark for me, so I'm just gonna do a concealer look, which is something I normally do on an everyday basis anyway. I don't always wear foundation. So this is the full coverage. What shade is this? I have no idea, guys. We're just gonna roll with it. It was one of the lighter ones they had. Also note, none of these have a smell. So they seem fragrance free. I don't know if that's exactly true in terms of the ingredients, but they don't smell like anything. Going to take my IT Cosmetics Flawless Foundation. Blend this in. You can already see how it's oxidized in a matter of seconds. So take note of that. If you plan on buying this, get a shade or two lighter than your skin tone because it will dry down darker. Now the real test is, will this break me out? Because my skin is super sensitive, super acne prone, and I can't just use any products on my skin. My skin will react. So we will see what happens to my face after this makeup application. This is really pretty. That's really pretty. I'm gonna build up a little bit more with the fuller coverage concealer around the nose. I always get red here, and on the chin and forehead. Let's see how that builds up. Building up really beautifully. I turn the lighting down just a little bit so you can get a better representation of what my skin looks like. Dare I say, this is really nice. I am shook. Wow. All right, I'm gonna take the liquid blush. It's swatched super pigmented, so I don't know if I wanna just put it directly on my face or if I wanna take a brush for like a more precise application. I think I'm gonna take a brush and I'm going to put some on the back of my hand. A little bit more. It does have a serum-y consistency, kind of similar to the concealer. So it's very blendable, even though it's very pigmented, if that makes sense. It's not like a thick, full coverage, super pigmented product that can be a little bit difficult to blend. It is serum-y in texture. That's a really pretty rosy liquid blush, and you can still see my skin peeking through, which I always say is my favorite look with a base. What is going on at Dollar Tree? Are we sleeping on Dollar Tree? So that's the base, concealer, and liquid blush done. Next, I'm gonna try the Pearly Finish Rose Blush. This swatched a little powdery, so I'm curious to see how it's going to apply to my cheeks. Yeah, very powdery. You could do without this product. I mean, I guess it's a nice way to set the blush, the liquid blush, but I'm not wowed. It does have like a pearly sheen. You could do without this. Now let's bronze up the face. I don't know if this is gonna cling to the rest of my face because I didn't get a powder, like a setting powder. I didn't see any setting powders there at my Dollar Tree. So let's see how this applies. All right, super sheer. It's swatched more pigmented on my hand, but I am also using a really fluffy, loose brush, which will also give me a sheer application. I mean, it's nice. It's not wowing me, but it is giving me a hint of bronze. So, I don't hate it, but I'm not wowed, if that makes sense. Let's get into eyes. I do want to prep my eyes with a little more concealer as a primer to the eyeshadow. Not that I think I need it because of how it's swatched, but I do like to just even out the skin tone on my eyelids. I do have very veiny eyelids, so they can look a little blue and a little green. So this will just give me a more neutral canvas to work on. Just gonna do my brows quickly. They did not have a brow product. I mean, I didn't see one, so I'm just gonna do what I normally do with my Brow Wiz, just in the tails. Brush it out. So quick, so easy. All right, let's get into the eyeshadow palette. While my concealer is not set, that is the best time to apply a shimmer product to get the most payoff. So I'm going to go into the middle shade, which is like a pearly champagne, and I'm gonna put that in on the inside to the half of my eye. And I always like to use a finger for maximum color payoff. All right, it's a little more subtle when you apply it straight to the eyes. Swatches a little bit more intense, but nonetheless, really pretty pearly shimmer. And I'm going to take the rosy shade on the outer half. No fallout. All right, they swatch more intense, but when you apply them to the eye, it is more soft. Make note of that. And don't be scared. I'm gonna blend it. I'm I'm going to go back into the bronzer, which is something I love to do, and take that into the crease as a transition shade. And back into the palette. I'm gonna take the matte cream shade and bring the shadow down, carving out my brow at the same time. And back into the blending brush to soften out any harsh lines. Really pretty coppery eye. I want to go back into the shimmer just to top it off because I lost some of that sparkle with the bronzy shade. There you go. Is a really easy bronzy eye look. They swatched more pigmented on the hand, but nonetheless they applied really beautifully, and I am shocked there is zero fallout. Zero fallout. I'm really scared to use this. Okay. I hate it. I hate it. It's not easy to work with. The pigment is there, but it's too chubby. Not beginner friendly. That's the eyeliner done. Eyeliner is sister, not twins. I did the best I could. It is very difficult to work with. Let's try this Skinny Wand mascara out. I hate it. Hate. Hate. It does nothing. But I'm gonna try to work with it for the sake of the video. My lashes are very tangled because I naturally have curly hair. So I need a wand that can separate them really well, which is why I typically like a plastic wand, not a wand like this. I think if you have normal lashes, you might like it. It's not doing enough for me. Into the lashes. This is in style DT2406. I don't think it has a name, but 3D Faux Mink. That's what they look like. They look promising. You see the plastic overlapping the lashes, so I need to trim the ends off of these. Let me grab a scissor, I'll be right back. All right, so I trimmed those up. Take the Duo lash glue, apply it to the band. The band is still very thick, which worries me, but I did do a thick line of liner, so hopefully that conceals it. All right, the band is so thick, so it's a little hard to lay it flat and down to my lid. It's always important to look for a super thin, barely there lash band when you're buying eyelashes. Never get lashes that have a thick plastic band like this. But we're gonna make it work. All right, while the glue dries down, it will dry clear. I will get on with the lips. I didn't find a lip liner that I liked, so I'm gonna take MAC Oak and do a really soft overline. Like so. And where is it? The lip gloss. Really pretty rose color. And that is the finished Dollar Tree makeup look. What do you guys think? What do you think performed well? What do you think flopped? Is there something that you liked on my application that I did not like on myself? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think you're gonna hit up your Dollar Tree to try out their beauty products? So as for my top favorite products, definitely liked the concealers. Again, note that they oxidize, so get a shade or two lighter than your natural skin tone. And I also really liked this liquid blush. It's really workable. It's really pigmented, but it's not scary pigmented. And it had a beautiful color payoff when you blended it out. I will pass on the blush. Was not a fan of the blush and not a fan of the mascara. I did love the eyeshadow palette. I think it's really user-friendly. It definitely swatches way stronger than it applies to the eyes, but nonetheless, it's beautiful on the eyes. And I will say the bronzer is it's not good, it's not bad. I could do without it, but it's a great budget option if you are in the market for a bronzer. And for lip, I think it's a beautiful rosy gloss. It's not very shiny, but it's beautiful. It looks like just a high shine lipstick in my opinion, rather than a lip gloss. And of course for the lashes, they're not they're not the best. You need a thin band on lashes, not this chunky whatever they used, but it worked. I made it work. The glue is still drying, so it's still a little bit white, but that is the finished look. And that is it for today's video, guys. Let me know if you liked it in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.